Hi, I'm Alistair, and I am the guy who does the physics you hear about on TV. Uh, the man behind the great cocks. As Professor Brian Cox. That's to say I'm a high-energy physicist or a particle physicist. We go by both names. It depends on which one we think sounds more intimidating and impressive. Which one makes our conferences sound better. And which one gets us more funding. But that probably doesn't mean anything to you. So I'll describe a bit. I look at what makes up matter. You know, what makes up everything around us. And I do this using a very refined scientific technique. I take one lump of matter, and I take a second lump of matter, and then I hit them together as hard as I can. It's essentially the equivalent of trying to find out how my watch works by just hitting it against another watch. And, you know, you may say that there might be a more elegant, a more theoretically refined method of finding out knowledge. But personally, both myself and my 2-year-old self are fine with the current style. So I'm trying to find out all about matter. And I think that this technique could be applied to other fields of science. You know, biology and chemistry, because this is how you do real science. None of this biology shit. None of this E. coli. So I think you could apply the same technique to other fields. However, the RSPCA have raised objections to my puppy research. But one thing which I do like about my research is we've got some good names for the little particles we look for. You know, I've got friends who are looking for sleptons. That's a real particle. Well, real. We've got squawks. I've got a few friends who are looking for winos. I recommend just buy odd bins. And I have got a friend who spends all day looking at bottoms. That's a bottom quark, but what he does in the evenings is completely up to him. And to do all of this, we use the Large Hadron Collider. It's a large particle accelerator. It's based in Geneva, in Switzerland. And you might have heard about it. Or you might have heard about it by its other name, which is the black hole machine of death. Seriously, there's a guy on YouTube who thinks that we're going to create a world-ending black hole, which makes me think that we shouldn't be based in Geneva. We should be based in an extinct volcano, surrounded by henchmen, and each of us with a white cat. Good evening, Mr. Bond. But no, we're stuck in Geneva, and I work on the Atlas experiment. And as I say, LHC, the accelerator thing, that stands for Large Hadron Collider. It's a very business-like acronym, and it's a very business-like name. You know, it's large, it uses hadrons, and it collides them. And the acronym is just to the point. Atlas, on the other hand, it actually stands for A toroidal LHC apparatus. And there are two things you should notice about this acronym. The first is that it's got an acronym within the acronym. We're essentially like Inception with dreams within dreams, but there's no Leonardo DiCaprio. Thank fuck. And you also notice that it actually stands for Atla. We have to pick up the last S from apparatus in order to get our word. And this is the other end of the acronym spectrum in the physics world. Screw everything else, I just want an awesome name for my experiment. So I've actually come up with the name which I'm going to call my experiment, if I ever get, in some bizarre set of circumstances, the right to choose the name. It's going to be called Alistair's Awesome Experiment is Brilliant. Wait, that's not the punchline. I'm going to take the first 5 letters from Alistair, the first letter from awesome, the 5th letter from experiment, and the 2nd letter from brilliant. Anyone got that? Yeah, my experiment will be called Alistair. But no, so we use our experiment to try and push back the theory of physics. You know, our current theory, it's actually really quite good. You know, it can predict the magnetic moment of the electron to, you know, pardon a few million, which is significantly better than you can get in any astrology paper. And it also predicts a whole load of different things. You know, it's not just a one-trick pony. This sucker keeps going. But so we've got to come up with a suitably grand name for it. You know, it's got to be something impressive, noble, intimidating, and awesome. The Standard Model. We kind of dropped the ball on that one. But there is a slight flaw with this experiment, with this theory. I say slight flaw. None of us have any weight or any mass. You know, it's a flaw with the theory. It's also a flaw with the Weight Watchers profit line. So we've got to obviously we've got to try and fix this. And one of the ways we try to fix it, you might have heard of, we're trying to look for the Higgs boson, which you might have heard about. There was a big seminar over in December where, you know, everyone was, you know, we were presenting our world-beating results on the Higgs boson. And you know you've done something wrong where it was the fastest trending topic on Twitter. It wasn't about your world-breaking measurement. It was about the fact that you chose to present it using Comic Sans MS. But no, people keep mentioning the LHC because it's quite expensive. I mean, all in, it's cost about $6 billion, which I don't know if you know the current exchange rate, but that does work out to about 1 metric fuckton of money. But the reason we need so much money, and obviously I say we need it, but we need... Please pay me. But we need so much money because it's really quite tricky to find things. I mean, you all know how hard it is to find your car keys. It's a bit tricky, but I'll admit, it is essentially a $6 billion game of Where's Wally? But no, I actually do look for the Higgs boson in my work. And I'm not doing any of this Discovery Channel stuff. I'm not going to get a Nobel Prize. No. That wasn't meant to be a joke. I was just going to say that, you know, unless those Colombian assassins I've hired don't do their job, but you've obviously found a punchline. The channel I look for, well, my supervisor describes it as necessary. But it means that I get to try a different technique to try to find things. And the technique, it's called multivariate analysis, which does sound kind of impressive if you say it quickly enough. And what it boils down to is you take every single variable you can think of and you throw it all into a computer and you say, you fucking do it. I'm done. But the computer actually does it. It works out quite well. It's a whole branch of it's machine learning and neural networks, which does let me say that I am looking for the Higgs boson, and to do it, I am creating Skynet. That's it.